Have you ever felt the burden of being constantly accessible, emotionally, physically, and mentally? Have you ever considered what might unfold if, instead of always responding immediately, you allowed yourself to pause, to step back, to simply be still? What if your presence stopped being assumed or expected? There is a profound strength in retreating, not as a sign of fear or rejection, but as an act of deep self-regard. In a society that idolizes availability as a demonstration of love or loyalty, the choice to withdraw can feel like rebellion. But in truth, it marks the initial step toward inner restoration. This message is dedicated to the soul that has poured out too much, reacted too swiftly, and lingered too long in environments where their presence was taken as a given rather than a gift. Before we move forward, don't forget to subscribe to the Mind's Secret Path channel and join our Telegram community to receive updates on powerful content related to inner healing and spiritual evolution. Now, let's begin. From early childhood, many of us are conditioned to believe that being needed equates to being valuable. We grow into adulthood internalizing the idea that love is synonymous with accessibility and that approval is earned through compliance and constant accommodation. But this mindset, deeply woven into our psyche, begins to chip away at our boundaries, slowly dissolving the protective barriers we need to preserve our inner world. Perpetual presence, rather than being a virtue, morphs into a quiet form of self-neglect. You keep giving and offering until all that remains is an empty shell of who you once were. But choosing to withdraw is not an act of abandonment. It's a sacred gesture of self-recognition. It's the intentional decision to stop offering your time, your energy, and your essence to people or environments that continuously consume but never replenish. The moment you start pulling back, not with resentment, but with reverence for your own vitality, you spark a subtle revolution within yourself. Those who were accustomed to your constant availability will begin to notice your absence. And in that silence, something beautiful is revealed. This absence isn't harsh. It isn't unkind. It's clarifying. It unveils who cherished your essence and who merely relied on the convenience of your presence. When you create space between yourself and the world, the mental fog starts to lift. You begin to observe patterns more clearly. You reconnect with your own emotional landscape. You begin to remember the core of who you are, long buried beneath obligation and performance. True relationships, those built on authenticity, endure distance and respect silence. It is dependency that crumbles under the weight of space. And recognizing that difference is nothing short of liberating. In that quiet pause, you come back into contact with your own unmet needs. You remember what it feels like to sit without urgency, to breathe without justification, to exist without having to prove your worth. Stepping back is not an act of rejection. It is the beginning of your return to yourself. And in that return, you start to restructure your life around presence rather than performance. Carl Jung insightfully observed that we all wear a persona, a carefully constructed mask designed for social acceptance. This mask helps us navigate societal expectations, but it is not our true self. The more we attach our identity to this false self, the more distant we become from our essence. Overextending ourselves, always being available, is often the act of that mask. It's the forced smile while you're breaking inside. It's the quick response when you're exhausted. It's the yes when your inner truth screams no. Peeling away the persona is not easy. It can feel like you're betraying the very people who only ever saw the character you portrayed. But the price of continuing the performance is much steeper. You slowly disappear from your own life. Choosing yourself, even when it means letting others down, is the only way back to genuine living. This unraveling is not defiance. It is remembrance. The people who truly see and respect you will honor your boundaries. Those who grow angry or distant were only attached to the version of you that served them. As you begin to shed everything that was never truly you, a deeper and more grounded truth starts to rise within you. And it is this truth that deserves your guardianship. It is in this unfolding truth that your true power is born. The more you operate from your authentic core, the less you concern yourself with how others interpret you. You stop tailoring your expression to meet external expectations. You stop performing. And with every layer of the mask that falls away, your presence becomes more sincere, more impactful, more unique. Because authenticity isn't just beautiful, it's transformative. It invites others to approach you as you truly are, not as a projection, not as a fantasy, but as a real, whole being. Jung believed that the human psyche operates with finite energy. Every interaction draws from that reservoir. The needless arguments, the draining explanations, the emotional knots, they all cost you. When you begin to treat your energy as sacred, your decisions gain clarity. You choose more consciously where your energy flows. You stop spreading yourself thin over people and situations that fail to honor your depth. With this new discernment, true power emerges. Not the power to control others, but the strength to be anchored within yourself. You discover the silent joy of non-reaction, the relief in choosing not to engage, the quiet strength in simply bearing witness. The stillness that follows may feel uneasy at first. You might wrestle with guilt or face judgment. But gradually, that stillness becomes your sanctuary. It turns into insight. It reveals who truly respects your space and who merely tolerated you for what you gave. In this stillness, you don't diminish, you rise. And as you rise, something extraordinary begins: healing. Your time is no longer spent mending what's broken in others, but cultivating what is whole within yourself. You begin to pour your energy into connections that reflect your truth. You give where your spirit feels safe, where your love is returned, and where your presence is received without demand. You no longer exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth, because you know it already exists. You begin to remember that your energy is not infinite. It's not something to be squandered. It's a rare and beautiful offering, and not everyone is worthy of it. Before we continue, if this message is resonating with you, if it has stirred something within your soul, please take a moment to share it with someone who may also need this reminder. Let us continue walking this sacred path together. And if you feel inspired to support the continued growth of our channel and the work we passionately create, you can make a contribution by clicking the Thanks button located just below this video. Every bit of support, no matter the size, is deeply appreciated and truly helps us continue sharing meaningful content. Now, let's continue on this path together. In a world overwhelmed by constant stimulation, relentless noise, and endless demands for attention, your absence becomes a powerful form of presence. There is a subtle grace in walking away without fanfare, in stepping back without needing to justify your departure. There is quiet dignity in saying no, without needing to explain your reasoning. There is strength in choosing stillness when chaos tries to draw you in. Holding your peace in the face of provocation is not a passive act. It's an expression of emotional sovereignty. This type of silence does not signal weakness or passivity. It is a refined form of self-mastery. It is the grounded calm that radiates the unshakable truth: I know who I am. You don't have to raise your voice to make an impact. You don't need to be present everywhere to leave a lasting impression. The more you detach from disorder, from environments that constantly pull on your energy, the more you begin to tune in to the voice within. The more you withdraw from the noise, the deeper you connect with the frequency of your own soul. And as you build a sanctuary around your peace, something transformative happens. Your presence becomes more impactful, more meaningful, and more felt, even in your silence. People begin to take notice, not because you're shouting for recognition, but because your stillness begins to carry a message far louder than words ever could. Your silence starts speaking volumes. This kind of intentional absence becomes more revealing than constant presence ever could. It communicates something unmistakable. It shows the world that you are no longer available to be molded by projections, no longer playing roles to meet the expectations of others. You are no longer a canvas for other people's unresolved narratives. You are whole. You are sovereign. You are energetically intact. And therein lies a beautiful paradox. The less you strive to be seen, the more your authentic self becomes unmistakably visible. As you retreat from the need for validation, your true essence begins to shine with unmistakable clarity. Your withdrawal creates a vacuum, one that invites others to confront their own discomfort, their own assumptions, their own dependencies. In the space you once occupied, people no longer just encounter your absence. They are faced with the emotional noise they had once drowned out with your presence. And in that shift, you are liberated from burdens that were never meant to be yours. You no longer carry the emotional weight of others' expectations, projections, or demands. You return, instead, to your inner axis. You begin to operate from a place of alignment, not obligation. So, if these words have resonated with something deep within you, if they have awakened a quiet knowing in the corners of your soul that you've long ignored, let this be your moment of declaration. Say it now. Breathe it into your being. I choose my peace, not to win approval, not to be understood, but to begin again, to reclaim your energy, to finally come home to yourself. Because when you cease being available to everyone else's needs, you finally become accessible to your own. And that single shift, however subtle, changes everything. Your energy no longer spills out in 1,000 directions. It flows inward, restoring, refueling, realigning. If this reflection has touched something inside you, if it has brought clarity, comfort, or courage, we would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you're learning to release. What are you reclaiming today? What boundaries are you honoring? What parts of yourself are you finally listening to? And if you haven't already, we warmly invite you to subscribe to Mind's Secret Path. Here, we dive deeply into the wisdom of Jungian psychology, the practice of emotional clarity, and the sacred journey of inner transformation. Together, we are building a community rooted in depth over distraction, presence over performance, authenticity over image. You're not alone on this path. Your growth matters. Your story matters. And we're here to walk alongside you every step of the way.